Hey everyone, and welcome to this full course tutorial on MongoDB. Now, MongoDB is one of the most widely used database management systems. So this video will explain why MongoDB is used and how to use it. MongoDB is basically a document-oriented NoSQL database. Now, MongoDB is different from conventional relational data models that use rows and columns. So if you wish to learn about MongoDB, then you're in the right place. So let me tell you what's in store for you in this full course video. First, we'll have a look at what MongoDB is. Then, we'll look at how to install MongoDB on a Windows system. Moving on, we'll look at a detailed tutorial on MongoDB that explains how to use MongoDB, different CRUD operations performed on MongoDB, other topics like aggregation, sharding, replication, and so on. Moving ahead, we'll look at how to connect MongoDB with different applications. In this case, we'll look at how Python MongoDB works. And lastly, we'll conclude the tutorial by looking at some of the differences between MongoDB and MySQL. So I'm sure you're excited to learn about MongoDB, so let's dive in. But before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to never miss an update. So what exactly is MongoDB? It is a document-oriented NoSQL database. It was initially released in August 27, 2009. MongoDB replaces the concept of rows of conventional relational data models with something called documents. It offers developers the flexibility to work with evolving data models. Since it's document-based, MongoDB allows embedded documents, arrays, and represents complex hierarchical relationships using a single record. It is also schema-free, which means that the keys defined in the document are not fixed. As a result, massive data migrations can be ruled out. But you must be wondering, when there's something like SQL, why is NoSQL or MongoDB used? There are a few reasons why MongoDB is widely used. First up is flexibility. MongoDB's notion of documents that can contain sub-documents nested in complex hierarchies is really expressive and flexible. Flexible query model. A user can selectively index some part of a document or a query based on attribute values, regular expressions, or ranges. Next up is native aggregation. Native aggregation allows its users to extract and transform data from MongoDB and either load them in a new format or export it from MongoDB to other data sources. It makes it extremely compatible. Lastly, as mentioned earlier, the schema-free model. Now, applications get the power and responsibility to interpret different properties in different ways. Now that you know what MongoDB is and why exactly it's used, let's have a look at the characteristics of MongoDB. Firstly, it's a general-purpose database. Now, MongoDB can serve heterogeneous loads and multiple purposes within an application. Again, it has a flexible schema design. Document-oriented approaches with non-defined attributes that can be modified on the fly is a key contrast between MongoDB and any other relational database. Next up is scalability and load balancing. It's built to scale both vertically but most importantly horizontally. Using sharding, an architect can share load between different instances and achieve both read and write scalability. When it comes to load balancing, this happens automatically and transparently to the user by the shard balancer. Again, we have aggregation framework. Now, MongoDB offers an extract, transform, and load framework that eliminates the need for complex data pipelines. Native replication. Now, data will get replicated across a replica set without complicated setup. Security features. Both authentication and authorization are taken into account in MongoDB. Next up is JSON. Now, JSON is widely used across the web for front-end and API communication, and as such, it's easier when the database is also compatible with the same protocol. Lastly, we have MapReduce. Now again, MapReduce is an excellent tool to build data pipelines, and MongoDB uses MapReduce readily. Now let's quickly have a look at the working of MongoDB. Data is stored in documents with the help of key-value pairs. Now the data is stored in the BSON format. At the back end, MongoDB converts JSON data into a binary format known as BSON. MongoDB also makes provision for nested data. Now all of these documents are stored in a collection. These collections hold multiple documents, and since MongoDB is schema-less, the documents in one collection need not be similar. Now again, these collections are stored in the entire MongoDB database. As mentioned earlier, MongoDB makes provision for nested data. This makes fetching of data extremely efficient when compared to other databases. Now you must be wondering where exactly MongoDB can be applied or used. So let me help you with that. Several areas of technologies use MongoDB as their DBMS currently. Some of them are Internet of Things, mobile applications, real-time analysis, personalization, catalog management, and content management. Now all said and done, let's look at some of the companies that use MongoDB currently. Companies like Toyota, SAP, AstraZeneca, Adobe, Verizon, Cisco, Barclays, and Google, among others, readily deploy MongoDB as their database management system. In this video, I'm going to help you install and set up MongoDB on your Windows system. You will have to navigate to the official MongoDB website. And here you can see software. So go ahead and click on Community Server under Software. And you can see that the current version is 4.4.4 and the platform is Windows, and make sure that the package is MSI. Alright, now go ahead and press download. So this could take a while. Alright, so once it's downloaded, go ahead and install it. Now since it's already installed on my system, the installation process will be different, but you just need to follow the steps there and finally install it. So once you're done with the installation, you can go to your C drive, and here you can click on Program Files, and you can see that MongoDB is installed. And inside of it, you have the server folder, and then you have the 4.4 folder, and then you have the bin folder. Right? So here you have the application, that is your Mongo and the MongoD applications. Both are executable files. Now the MongoD file or the application is the daemon process. Now this is the background process that makes sure you retrieve the data from the database, access the data. So it does all the background tasks. So after the installation, now you need to create a path to this file. By doing this, you don't have to always go to the bin folder and then execute the file. You can directly execute the file on your command prompt, right? So for that, let's just go to our environment variables. But before that, let's just copy this path, right? And here under the user variable section, click on path and say edit, and go ahead and just paste it, right? I've already pasted mine, so just go ahead and paste it and click on OK and say OK, right? So now you've created the path successfully. Now let's head to our command prompt and run the Mongo file. So here you can just directly type Mongo since the path has already been created. So just go ahead and say Mongo, and here you can see that your Mongo server has been generated, and with this you know that your MongoDB has been successfully installed and your server is up and running, right? So just for confirmation, let's see if there are any databases and how much space they've occupied. So you can right now just type show dbs, and when you click on it, it says admin, config, and localhost, and all of it is 0. So with that, you have successfully installed MongoDB on your system and it's up and running. Alright.
In this particular tutorial, we will be learning what MongoDB is all about and their advantages and some practical demonstrations. So let's get started now. So here in MongoDB, we would like to discuss about what is a MongoDB. So as we know, the MongoDB is known to be a traditional document-based database okay, which stores the data in a document. Okay, NoSQL means it doesn't says like no to SQL. Instead, it says not only SQL. That means it is not only SQL, but it is supporting the other approaches too. Okay, so the document based, when you talk about it, actually represents the typical hierarchical relationship using the single records. That means how the records are related with each other. So that's how exactly it represents. And it is a pure schema free environment, so that you really do not need to have a schema before you go and develop this program. So it is a pure schemaless environment. Due to that, it is giving you far more better flexibility when you talk about completely unorganized environment. So what is NoSQL? So here's the idea about a NoSQL. So it is completely into the non-relational database. Like traditionally, if you see any non-relational database, you talk about typical NoSQL, it's purely into the document base. Here, NoSQL does not use any tables like in rows and columns. A traditional RDB based approach, if you see, there they are using a complete table structure, like they talk about columns, they talk about rows and all about. So here in NoSQL, it stores the relationship data in the documents. So the different type of NoSQL databases are available, like you talk about called document based, you talk about key value based, you talk about white column based and graph based. Different options are available for the NoSQL, but the one which we are using it, MongoDB, it is a purely document based database. Now here we would like to go ahead with some demonstrations, like talking about like how MongoDB installation works and the other aspects. Okay everyone, so now we're going to start working on the first option called MongoDB installation. Okay, see, MongoDB installation is very simple. If you open on a website and go for this website name called MongoDB download. If you talk about MongoDB download, you're going to see the official website called MongoDB community download is available. When you click here, so you can see it is taking the current version to 4.4.6. Mac OS, it by default detected my platform. However, you can select, depends on which platform you have it. And after that, you will be clicking on this download. Okay, so it will get ready for. If you are from Windows, I would say in this Windows, you can select appropriate option. Like two options are available. You can talk about MSI or talk about zip. My recommendation is you can stick to the zip portion, because it won't start any MongoDB services behind the scene. That is really helpful, because you really do not want the MongoDB to be there running unnecessary, even if it is not required. My suggestion is to stick to the zip file. So here, once the MongoDB is there, so you will be seeing there are two files available inside the MongoDB folder inside the bin. So once you download the zip, you will find two different type of files are available. Let me mention those. So inside the bin folder, you will see two files. One is called MongoD. Okay, the other file which is available called Mongo. MongoD is to basically start the MongoD server, and the Mongo is actually the client which will connect with the MongoD. Clear? So if you are in Windows environment, so once you are inside this bin folder of your zip file, you will get the MongoD. So you have to double click on this. It will start a new command prompt. So you do not need to do anything further. Just minimize this command prompt and go inside the bin folder again and click on the another binary file called Mongo. So it will get start as a client. Okay, since I am using the MacBook, here the concept is little different about how MongoDB can be used. Okay, so this is just a basic way of how the Mongo is being used into your code. Okay everyone, so now as we are in the MacBook, so here to start MongoDB we have a very special way to start with. So here I'll start with my terminal, And here I would like to paste one very simple command to start my MongoDB database, that is called MongoD. And after that you have to say --db path. It is the place where your database will be starting. And one more important thing I forgot to mention, like MongoD would not start automatically inside your Windows machine unless inside your C drive you have to create a new folder name called data, and under this you have to create a new folder name called db, because automatically when the MongoD starts, it looks inside the C drive data inside a db folder. There your all records will get stored. So do not forget, whenever you're trying to use the MongoD, so you must have this particular folder structure in place in your local machine. Otherwise this is not gonna start. Every time you start your MongoD without this location, it automatically terminates. So to avoid those, make sure that you have this DataDB folder ready with you. However, you can also change the location of this particular folder structure, for which we will discuss it little later on. But as of now, we can see I'm giving my location, that is called -db path /datadb. I hit enter. You can see now my MongoDB is starting now, and since it's stuck, so I have to start the new terminal now. So here I open another tab and type Mongo, and the moment I type Mongo, now you can see it is now connected with my MongoDB, and now it is ready. That's the first thing you need to remember. Okay, now to check which other databases are available to you, so you can just type show DBS. So it will show you the number of databases which are already there inside your existing newly installed MongoDB. But you can go back and create new database too. Here you can see some databases are already present. However, you go back and create the new databases into your system. And to create this database, we have a very simple option available here, name called use SimpliDB. If I say use SimpliDB, it automatically creates this database and take you inside. Let's see. Now you can see, you say use SimpliDB, it automatically creates, though it is not there, but automatically takes you in while creating those. Okay, so that means you are in current database name called SimpliDB. So if you're not sure which database you are in, so you can just type DBS or DB, and it will show you that your current database is SimpliDB. That's it. So your database is set, and we are all good to go ahead with our next level development. Hello everybody and welcome back. In the previous videos you have seen like how to create a database and how to identify whether my database is there or not. So if you remember, previously we have created our database using use keyword. So if I just see my databases which we have created last time, so how we can check this out? We can say show space DBS. Okay, so you can see we have got database list, but we do not have any database which we have created last time is registered here. That's quite surprising, because when we have created our database, it should be listed here, but it is not. Let's do one more time. I'm saying use SLDB, and I'm saying switch to SLDB. Now when I say once again show DBS, so I still don't see my database is listed here. There is a reason. The reason is, according to the MongoDB rule, unless we have minimum one record or collection stored inside my MongoDB, it really can't show in the list. Now I want to tell you about a few important things. Now here when we talk about called MongoDB, in this MongoDB, compared to the relational database, here the table which is actually in RDBMS it is called, here it is called collection. Okay, DB is still called DB here. Okay, that means the database will be still called database, but row, what you use this word in a traditional RDBMS, here it is known as called document. If you remember, I told you like it is a document based database. So here every single record what you try to insert, it is not called a typical row, it is instead called a document. So every table is called collection and every single row it is called document. That's what exactly the difference is. Okay, now here once it is ready, we will go ahead and talk about our next feature now. Well, we have to basically go and create a new collection. Okay, so what you can say, db dot create collection, and here I can pass my collection name. I can say demo collection. So once it is done, I can see it is collection is created. In typical language, I can say the table is created, and now when I try to see same show dbs, I can see my database is now listed. Okay, that's how exactly it works. So the very simplest way of how we use in my code. Well, in our previous examples, we have seen like how we can create a collection and we can give the name, and I can see the details are listed when I say show DBS. But there's again another alternative option available where you can just do that without even saying db.create collection. Well, if I want to create a collection, I really don't need this particular functionality called create collection. I can directly use this statement name called db.sl student dot insert, and here we would like to add the property like a name, and here we can say admin. Now what does that meaning is? When you say db.slstudent.insert and I hit enter, you can see this n inserted one, and surprisingly when you try to say press enter, you will see this SL student is not a collection which we have created earlier. So what this line does, this line not only create the collection for you, but also add a record inside with this property called name, because that is a MongoDB, and MongoDB is always following the JSON based structure, and due to that it goes with the key and value pairs. So DB is a predefined keyword, SL student is a collection name, insert is a command through which you are trying to insert a record. Now to check how many collections are there. Okay, so we have one property called show collections. When I say show collections, I can list down those number of collections, or else I can say tables in a typical RDBMS language which are there added in my system. So SL student in which I can see the record is inserted. So if I want to confirm, I can simply say db.sl student.find. Find is a function through which I can list down those number of records which are added. I say find, and you can see that the records are received. At the same time, when I say db dot the name called demo collection, okay, db.democollection.find, I'll find no record. Reason because this collection was created but there was no record which was inserted in. But you will see when I write this command called slstudent.insert, it not only create a new collection for me but also insert the record into my table, also called a collection. That's where exactly it is giving you the advantage when you want the collections to be created along with the data. This is the way how you can really do this. Clear? But whenever you talk about db.createCollection. Many people always think about what is the significance of having this db.createCollection. Look, db.createCollection is having its own significance. We never recommend this technique, okay, to create a collection, because when you create a collection, you always bring some restrictions, some terminology which missed out whenever you talk about this line. So having this db.createCollection, you can also offer some additional capping which is not possible when you use db.collectionName.insert. So you might be thinking what those cappings you're talking about. Let me try to brief you. When I say db.createCollection, and here we are providing the first name called suppose student. Okay, when I say student, so after this is student, additional parameters what we can pass is this. When I say capped colon true, what we say, capped colon true. So you are enabling the capping. After that, the next parameter I'm going to pass, that is known as called size. In this size, we are providing the size. Suppose I'm saying 5 to 4, and also we are saying 2880. That is the size of 5 MB, and here we are giving call max colon 5. What exactly that meaning is? See, the meaning is very simple. Whenever we try to bring this create collection option, so capping true means you are enabling the capping. So what does that meaning is? It is trying to say in this particular collection name called student, maximum number of documents can be either 5 or less than 5. Clear? And the collective size of documents cannot be increased to more than 5 MB. That means you're trying to say either by adding the total number of 5 records, the collective size of 5 documents will reach to 5 MB, okay, or else the maximum number of 5 documents can be stored. So whichever fills earlier. You may have a total number of 4 documents which are pretty heavy and they reach to the size 5 MB, and